Oh, all right. So, guys, our channel, our channel received 2 strikes in a year and a half. So, I wanted to bring some content to you guys that in a year and a half. Oh, so, all right. I had to stop that. And I wanted to make sure that I can bring some content to you guys to make sure that that doesn't happen to you either. Because I tell you this much, right? I tell you this much that that has had put some fear in me and a producer, right? So that fear is not a good feeling, right? It's not a good feeling. So I tell you this much. I don't like it because it really causes anxiety. So let me make sure that everything is good here. Right? So it really caused some anxiety. The first time it happened, it was a shocker because we were in the middle of a live stream. And make sure middle of a live stream. Oh, shucks. And make sure middle of a live stream. Oh, shucks. All right. So it's everywhere. And just checking some audio here. Give me a second. Because sometimes it doesn't necessarily, and I want to make sure that all the platforms that we're doing this on is actually getting the stream. So give me a second. All right. So all the platforms that we're on, we're currently streaming on, of course, YouTube. We're streaming on Rumble. We're streaming on Kick. We're streaming on Party. And we're streaming on Twitch. So again, that's YouTube, Rumble, Party, Kick, and Twitch. So we're live on these platforms. All right. So, like I was saying, when we were doing the stream, and I remember Clyde was here, and all of a sudden, everything froze. But I didn't know why, because I was doing a reaction, a live reaction, and Clyde didn't know why. So after that happened, I immediately got up, went to see what happened. So YouTube sent over an email, and we didn't see it because I was in the middle of doing the reaction, and Clive was focused on making sure that the sound and everything is coming through good. Maybe he was doing something else. I don't know. Maybe he was on his phone and he didn't see it. We don't know. I don't know. All I know is that the stream stopped. The panic was first to delete the stream that we were doing, hoping that that would resolve the issue. That did not resolve the issue. And that was too fast of a reaction, but we were trying to be preemptive. And because of that, we lost the content there. So I thought about it, had discussion with advisors, partners, and said, how can we resolve this issue? So an email was sent off to YouTube. And when the email was sent off to YouTube, we received a response back in about, I think it was 72 hours. And they say after reviewing the content, it didn't meet the YouTube violation. So here go. We deleted the content and we didn't have the content anymore out of fear and panic. And I just went ahead and did a follow-up and said why we got a strike, right? And you know what I can do? Let me look and see if I have the strike. Strike. YouTube. Let me see if I find it. No, I should have pulled it up earlier. That's my bad. Why? That's my bad. So anyway, let's continue. That was on the forefront of my mind when I was putting this together to do the stream. And one thing led to another and I just forgot. So most of you know Malcolm Jamal Warner. So the first strike was last year. So this year, about we're going on 3 months now, right? So we have 28 days left to go. Let me double check on the strike that we have. So we have 22 days to date left to go on the second strike. So when Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away, it was so heart-wrenching, so shocking. I decided that, hey, actually it wasn't just me alone. A few people called and say, hey, you should do a reaction about Malcolm Jamal Warner. And in the midst of doing the reaction, I pulled up different clips and having a talk about it at the same time. And everything was fine. No copyright issue was detected for a few days. At least for 2 weeks. And then during that period of time, there was a family issue going on. And that just wrecked my mind, my thoughts. And it caused me not to check the emails and saw that they gave us some time to resolve it. We had, I believe we had 24 or 48 hours to resolve it. But a family member, my mother, was passing away. And that was another side of why we got the second strike. So a few days ago, I started looking into why what's going on and why it's happening. It appears that many content creators are saying that they're losing their channel. I was telling a friend of mine the other day that a content creator earning a lot of money, over $1 million, lost their channel. But that was all the information I had. I couldn't understand why they were losing their channel. And YouTube itself is also not pushing out the content like it used to before. So you'll do a video and a big channel with 1 million subscribers will probably see only 20,000 views. Right? So what's going on? And everybody, we know that YouTube is the big dog on the block. All right? YouTube is the one that every other channel, every other platform is aspiring to be like. So we know that it is so charismatic for us as content creator to do our best, and then when we do our best, then we get reprimanded for it. And that is really harming some folks and taking away their livelihood. So I said that I am going to do a live stream, and I'm going to do the live stream with Make Money Matt. Right? No, I'm not doing it with him. I'm doing it around his content because he's been in the business for a while. This is his full-time job, and he has insights on why channels are being deleted, why channels are being banned. Right? So without further ado, let me play that video.
There's some specific YouTube niches that you should always avoid no matter what, and they might as well be banned from YouTube. Now, YouTube doesn't go out and they don't ban specific niches, so to speak. However, YouTube is terminating thousands of channels right now, and I've never seen anything like this before in my past 10 years on YouTube. But what most people don't know is that it's actually very easy to avoid potentially losing your channel and potentially losing out hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue that your channel could have made you. Now, my name is Matt Parr, and if you are a content creator who is using AI in any part of your video process, this video is especially important for you to watch, but it's also super important to watch if you're in any of the niches that I'm about to share with you. You might be saying, Matt, YouTube has always cracked down on spam and certain types of content. How is this any different what's happening right now? Well, let me put this in perspective for you. I personally have been doing YouTube for the past decade. I run a bunch of different channels myself. I've coached over 11,000 other YouTubers. I've seen plenty of policy changes throughout my time, including algorithm updates, monetization shifts, and new community guidelines. But with what's happening right now, people feel like YouTube is waging war on their channels. And that's because certain detection systems on YouTube have gotten so much better, and certain niches you should really just steer clear from. But don't worry, because YouTube isn't doomed. It's not over. You just need to understand these changes and learn how to avoid them at all costs. Now, I'll be telling you all of these niches in just a minute, but first, I want to share some channels that were actually recently terminated on YouTube, and then tell you what they did wrong, if they did anything wrong. Because with a lot of these terminations going on, a lot of people are wondering, why would YouTube be doing this? Because at the end of the day, YouTube makes money if people make money on the platform, and by YouTube banning people, it actually hurts themselves, so why in the world would they be doing this? Well, the answer is a lot more simple than you probably think. I'll be answering that. I'll be going into the exact niches that you need to avoid at all costs, but first we need to take a look at some of these channels that recently got terminated. Now, let me start with what is, in my opinion, the most shocking termination that sent shockwaves throughout the entire YouTube automation community recently, and that was earlier this year. The channel How To AI was terminated from YouTube. Now, the channel's owner, who's this guy that goes by Leo, explained that he received the first strike a year ago, and then received 2 strikes literally consecutively on a few of his new videos. And as you might know, if you get 3 strikes on your channel is completely banned. Now, How To AI wasn't just a random channel. It was one of the best AI educational channels in the space. It was bringing really impressive numbers in terms of views and revenue. I believe Leo said the channel was doing over $1 million a year. Now, obviously, channels were getting taken down before this as well, but this started a really big conversation on social media, and eventually I started noticing a pattern. This pattern almost led me to getting my channel deleted as well. So the question here is, what the heck is really happening? And I'll get into the real reason that this channel, at least in my personal opinion, was banned. But first, let's look at the second case study of a channel that was banned, which was by a creator named Rome Ro, who had a channel in the celebrity news niche that was taken down without any warning. He then went on to submit an appeal. He explained his content, provided context, asked for a review, and YouTube's response was shockingly quick. Within minutes, his appeal was rejected. The generic YouTube response said that his channel was probably hacked and that the new changes went against the community guidelines. But think about the appeal decision for a second. A human being could not possibly review a channel's entire content library, read an appeal, investigate the claims, and make an informed decision in a few minutes. This was clearly an automated system that was making the final call on this. And what this tells us is that YouTube spam detection has become so advanced and so aggressive that creators are being judged by AI systems and not humans. And once those systems flag you, there's almost no way to get a real person to review your case. This is the new reality of YouTube right now. And as scary as this is, you might be thinking, is YouTube even worth doing anymore with like stuff like this happening? But if we look at it from YouTube's point of views, they really don't have any other options, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But now let's look at case study number 3. You might have remembered earlier in 2025 when the P. Diddy trial was making headlines around the world. Dozens of channels were pumping out these AI-generated videos about the trial, making false claims, creating fake testimonials, spreading outright misinformation of other celebrities, giving their opinion on the trial and everything else, stuff that those celebrities literally never even said in their lives. And these videos were, of course, getting massive views. The more controversial and crazy they are, the more views they're going to pull. But according to several news reports, just 26 YouTube channels created roughly 900 videos about the P. Diddy trial that accumulated nearly 70 million views in just a year. That is not a small operation. That's literally an industrial scale campaign for doing this. So how do these channels operate? Well, they would AI generate thumbnails showing celebrities like Jay-Z, Usher, Brad Pitt, Oprah, and others on the witness stand with completely fabricated quotes. One video showed Jay-Z crying with the fake quote, "I will be dead soon." Another claimed that Brad Pitt testified against Diddy, even though that never even happened. None of the quotes were real. None of those events ever happened. But the videos looked just real enough that viewers believed them. They used AI voiceovers that sounded professional. They recycled case trial news mixed with AI-generated images. They created completely fake narratives that made it seem like major news events were actually happening. Now, YouTube's response was to terminate 16 of these channels and then demonetize several others. This was at least what was publicized in the news when YouTube did this. And it's pretty obvious why this one happened. I mean, they're just spreading blatant misinformation. But here's what this situation really tells us. YouTube is actively hunting down channels that create fake AI-generated content around very sensitive topics, especially like trials, elections, and public health. Now, the thing is that videos like this have always been spread on YouTube. This is not just like some new thing that's happening. But YouTube's detection systems have gotten better, and really the YouTube terms of service haven't really changed that much. But what has changed is better detection mechanisms for that type of content. And when misinformation reaches getting 70 million views, it's not a simple policy violation. It's a threat to YouTube's entire credibility as a whole. Now, before we get into all of the niches and I share with you exactly how you can easily avoid this, let's look at the fourth and final case study, because with making this video, I feel like I should let you in on another really big case that shows how dangerous AI content has become and why YouTube is cracking down so hard. So in February 2025, this year, a YouTube channel called True Crime Case Files was getting millions of views on documentary-style videos about gruesome murders. One video in particular went super viral, got nearly 2 million views, described this horrific crime that supposedly happened in the specific town in Colorado. The production quality looked professional, the narration sounded legit. The details were specific and they were very disturbing. Everything about it seemed real. People were so convinced this was actual true crime coverage that they started contacting Denver Post asking why they haven't covered this major story. Elizabeth Hernandez, who was a reporter at the paper, started investigating. She searched for any record of the crime, police reports, news coverage, court documents, anything. She found absolutely nothing. And the reason she couldn't find anything is because the murder never happened. None of the crimes on the channel were real at all. The creator was using the pseudonym Paul, and in interviews with 404 Media, he admitted that he had generated over 150 videos using ChatGPT for the entire scripts and AI image generators for visuals. They were all completely fabricated. The thumbnails were designed to be as clickbaity and as disturbing as possible because obviously the more sensationalist that is, the more views it's going to get. But viewers believed they were watching real documentaries. Now, it's probably not too surprising to learn that YouTube eventually terminated this channel, but not just for spreading misinformation. They terminated it for several violations of their
Here is the real dire issue that we're facing. Many times, me personally, I'm watching a video on YouTube or maybe Rumble or one of the other platforms. And AI is getting so good that even detecting the voice, because once upon a time you could, still in many cases, you can detect that you are actually hearing an AI voice because they have this unhuman like speech pattern that is not consistent with a sentinel being, us, live, right? And we speak in a certain way that have dimensions to it. Our speech pattern is dynamic. They're more robotic. But it's getting more and more difficult to tell what is AI and what's not. Recently, I was reading an article that followed through with a video. And in the article I was reading, it stated that officials are asking that the companies out there that have their platform make it accessible for creators to do these AI videos, that they automatically put the company's logo in the video to make sure that we know that it's AI, because it's getting super hard to detect. There are a lot of cat videos out right now, and dog videos, animal videos, and at one point I thought they were so authentic. I was like, wow, this is really cool. But then as I look more and more into it, I noticed that it is AI. And even though I'd put a like on the video, it is still bothersome to know that what I once thought to be real is actually computer generated animation, CGI. All right? And it's just getting more and more harder to detect. So when YouTube, being that they own technologies that can make detecting the content, the fake content, more easy and to help us, then you can understand. YouTube recently updated the copyright tab, and that copyright tab now says, give me a second and I'll tell you what it says. I was looking at it earlier, right? So the copyright tab now says content detection, right? Which give a clearer description, right? And apply the right prescription to what it's being done. Content is being detected for copyright issues and potential copyright claims. So it no longer says just copyright. It's now content detection. But let's continue with the video. Sorry.
guidelines. And when Paul was interviewed about it later, he tried to defend his actions, saying it needs to be called true crime because true crime is a genre. He wanted the audience to think about why they care so much that it was true, why it matters so much to them that real people are being murdered. But YouTube and the public didn't buy the excuse, and most people think what he did was wrong. So at this point, you're probably asking, Matt, what do YouTube's actual policies say about this? Because if the policies haven't changed, like you said they haven't changed, then how are all of these channels getting terminated? Well, I'm going to break all of that down for you, exactly what's in YouTube's community guidelines. I'm going to give you direct quotes from their official policy documentation so you can see this for yourself. And I'm going to show you niches that you need to be avoiding right now because these niches might as well be banned. Now, obviously, specific niches aren't banned on YouTube, so to speak, like I mentioned, but in my opinion, you should avoid them, especially avoid doing them in specific ways I'm going to show you so you can avoid your channel being banned, because it's pretty easy to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So if we take a look at the policy documentation, under YouTube's spam, deceptive practices, and scams policy, they explicitly prohibit content that intends to scam, mislead, spam, or defraud other users. This includes posting large amounts of untargeted, unwanted, or repetitive content, content where the main purpose is to drive people off of YouTube, content that primarily monetizes another channel's work, and videos with misleading metadata and thumbnails. And here's the key phrase that's getting these channels terminated. This is especially true if there's a serious risk of egregious real-world harm. What this means is that YouTube has always had these rules in place, but now they're enforcing them aggressively when it comes to AI-generated content that could mislead viewers about real-world events. And that actually brings me to the policy update that changed everything. On July 15th, 2025, YouTube implemented updated guidelines for their YouTube Partner Program, specifically targeting what they called inauthentic content. And YouTube's head of editorial, Reen Ritchie, tried to downplay this as a minor update to their long-standing policies. He said it was just designed to better identify content that is mass-produced or very repetitive, and he's insinuating content that doesn't provide value to people. But let's be real about what this update actually does. YouTube updated their monetization policies with more detailed guidelines about what type of content can earn creators money and which cannot. The exact language states that content must be significantly original and authentic to remain eligible for monetization. Now, I've created a complete detailed video on this, and I explained what the new changes are. So if you're a content creator, this is an incredibly important video for you to watch. I'll make sure to link it down in the description. But to give you a short overview, if you're using AI to mass produce content at scale without adding any significant human creativity, originality, and especially, most importantly, value, so someone can walk away from your video having more value that they had than they came in, whether it's entertainment or educational value, you will lose monetization or get your channel terminated entirely. Now, another critical piece that so many creators are completely missing and is causing terminations left and right was that starting in May this year, YouTube implemented mandatory disclosure requirements for AI-generated content. And this is not optional, by the way. This is a very strict requirement that if you violate it repeatedly, can lead to content removal or even suspension from the YouTube Partner Program. And what YouTube requires is that if your content includes realistic AI-generated or altered elements, you simply have to check a box as you're uploading a video saying that it includes altered content as a setting in your YouTube studio. This specifically applies when content appears realistic but does not reflect actual events. You have to disclose if you're making a real person, for example, appear to say or do something that they didn't, altering footage of real events or places, or generating realistic looking scenes that didn't actually occur, or if you use AI to create synthetic voices for real people. So this is pretty easy. You just check a box when you're uploading your videos, and you can still use AI 100%, but you have to make sure to check that box because YouTube is owned by Google, and Google owns DeepMind VO3, which is the state-of-the-art AI video model that they're now also implementing onto YouTube Shorts. So YouTube is totally fine with AI, at least from what I'm seeing, but only if your AI-generated content gives people value. And for sensitive topics like elections, public health crises, or ongoing legal matters, YouTube adds a more prominent label directly on the video player. And based off of my personal experience from being in contact with people running thousands of different channels in my community, I can tell you that one of the biggest reasons channels are getting terminated right now is because they're not properly labeling their AI-generated content. Even if the content itself isn't spam, if YouTube systems detect realistic AI-generated elements and you haven't disclosed them, then you're at risk. So think about that. You could be creating completely legitimate, valuable content, but you forget to check a box in the YouTube studio and it could pose a risk to your channel. So now that we understand the policies and the enforcement, let me break down which niches are extremely dangerous to be in right now. And I'm not just talking about niches that might have issues in the future. I'm talking about niches where channels are getting mass terminated right now. And the first niche is faceless, sensational entertainment channels. You might be saying, Matt, what do you even mean by that? What I mean is that if you're running a channel that uses clips from other creators, uses AI voiceovers, and doesn't add significant commentary or transformation, then you're definitely in danger with your channel, because YouTube is actively targeting channels that simply compile content with little to no effort, and the days of just slapping together movie clips or just completely AI generated images and then an AI generated voiceover of a story that doesn't even make sense, this is not content that's bringing value to people. So those days are over. Unless you're adding genuine analysis, unique perspectives, or significant creative transformation, then your channel is at risk. Niche number 2 is the make money online niche. This is one that hits pretty close to home, honestly, due to the fact that my channel was also affected by this, and I almost lost my channel. I was only one strike away from my entire channel getting deleted. And we saw that example earlier of that channel, How to AI. Even though that guy running it, Leo, was teaching legitimate strategies, helping hundreds of thousands of people, his channel...
Wow. So, Matt channel almost got deleted. Even someone that's just under a million subscribers. You know, I watched a video a few months ago. I think maybe 2 months ago. And let me go back for a sec. No, I'll leave it here. And I was telling someone, a friend of mine, that this guy was making $1 million. $1 million. And his channel was just wiped out. So going from making $1 million plus, I think he had said that he was making $1 million every over 2 to 3 months. He earned about $1 million, right? And then just got wiped away. One morning he woke up, nothing was there. Right? So, hey, you make a mistake or you're doing something that you thought was good, and at one point it was okay, then it's no longer okay. And maybe you get notification like, hey, no, this is not going to be okay anymore. And you're like, oh, I've been doing it for a while there. It's not going to affect me. And then you wake up one morning and your channel is gone. All right? So let's continue.
Still got terminated. Now, I'm going to make some speculations on why this happened, but in my opinion, they're pretty informed due to the fact that I've spoken to so many people with make money online channels, and I've been studying this niche for years and years at this point. But the reason that I think this channel got terminated is due to the fact that it's making claims of you're going to be able to make this much money specifically if you just watch this video. And in my intuition, I think that agencies, especially within the United States, like the FTC, are putting pressure on companies like YouTube to take any videos or channels down that make these big claims, because it reflects really badly on YouTube, and it could even get YouTube into legal trouble. So YouTube, in an effort to protect itself and even the creators on it, are taking down content that looks like it's promising that somebody's going to be able to make specific amounts of money. So I actually got 2 strikes on my channel. And if you get 3 strikes on your channel's completely deleted due to the fact that I've uploaded a lot of videos showing people different methods of making money online and everything else. And even though I show legitimate methods, and I always make disclaimers that obviously not everyone's going to make money, this is in no way a guarantee you'll make any money at all. YouTube especially is looking at titles and thumbnails and seeing if you're promising people that they're going to make any money. If you put, for example, in your thumbnails, you're going to make $100 a day, or if you put in your title, how to make $100 a day guaranteed online, that's a terrible title. That's something that YouTube is likely going to ban. And I actually had a playlist of some of the biggest make money online videos on all of YouTube that I went into several months later after I made the playlist, and half of the videos were missing. So this tells me that those videos were either taken down directly with strikes on the videos, or the channels got strikes, so then it pressured them to go ahead and private those specific videos. That being said, there is a way to do the make money online niche in a really good way. And if you need to see an example of that, you can look at what I've been doing on my channel over the past few months now. I've tried to really shift my entire channel, doing less so videos like how to make money online and doing more so how to build a real online business with YouTube. That's the kind of vibe you want to do. And a huge tip and a trick for this as well is to make a custom GPT using something like ChatGPT of the YouTube's terms of service, where you just copy paste all of them in there. And then you can go ahead and run any video ideas you have through that GPT, and it'll tell you whether it thinks that that idea is a risk or not. Now, the third niche that is a huge problem that you should avoid at all costs are AI slop channels. AI slop channels, at least in my opinion, are channels similar to those revenge story channels that you may have seen on YouTube that literally just scrape Reddit and then copy paste stories directly from Reddit into their own content. Huge copyright concern, number one. Number two, even if you don't get hit for that, it's literally just AI generated. You're just literally having an AI bot make those videos, and it's not providing any original value. It doesn't matter if the stories are entertaining. It doesn't matter if your audience likes them. If YouTube systems detect that your content is heavily AI generated without significant transformation, your channel could get banned. Another example of a channel that got banned was from this guy named Aries, who posted on Twitter that he had a channel that helped people relax and sleep, and his channel got terminated without any warning. So in my opinion, if you're going to do like meditation style videos or relaxation style sleep videos, make sure that you have an actual voiceover in the background of the video. Don't just do, for example, sleep sounds and AI generate a song, or don't just, take a song from the YouTube audio library and have that be playing in the background, or a song from YouTube. If I'm doing that niche, I would make sure to have a guided meditation throughout the video, so it's not just like a mass-produced, low-quality video. Niche number 4 is the true crime niche, because after that true crime case file situation, YouTube especially is looking at these true crime channels really carefully right now. And if you're creating content that could be mistaken for real crime coverage, but it isn't properly sourced, verified, or disclose that it is fictional, because you can do fictional stories on YouTube, but you have to say, like, this is a scary story, this is a fake story, then you could be violating YouTube's policies. And especially if your content involves kids in any way, that's a huge no-no on YouTube. That's something that I've seen YouTube is cracking down really hard on right now. Niche number 5 is news and political commentary. Any channel that's creating content around current events, trials, elections, or political figures where you use AI-generated elements without properly disclosing that, AI was generating this is going to probably get banned. The P. Diddy situation that I mentioned earlier.
I tell you this much. When I go over any news, politics, I don't think I can't see in my future, or I don't foresee me doing any content or any other content creator that's working with the Think and Say Network, LTS, that we will be doing these kind of AI generated content. When the Diddy trial was going on and other trials were going on, I wondered, like, how did they get these thumbnails to look this way, right? Because it's very captivating. It draws your attention because it looks so sensationalized, right? And when it's all said and done, it's satire. They took parts, clip them, and make them look so real that you actually think it's part of the trial or what was going on with Diddy or whomsoever else. And it was all AI generated. All right, so doing these crime related content or politics related content, I don't think I would use AI. I really don't think I'll want to mess around with doing it with AI.
Earlier,
all right, let's continue.
Proves that YouTube will aggressively remove misinformation around sensitive topics. Similarly, there's this other guy on Twitter, Noah Morris. He also got one of his political channels deleted because of misinformation and quote-unquote spam content. So if you're in that niche, you need to be extremely careful with your content.
Let's go back a second. Okay. Noah Morris Biggest loss of my life. He posted. This is the post. Biggest loss of my life. Just lost 8 channels. 8 channels. $3.8 million combined lifetime revenue, and 1.5 million subscribers got nuked. Right? 1.5 million subscribers gone, and $3.8 million combined in revenue gone. One small channel associated with said AdSense account under my friend's name got removed and caused all associated channel to get deleted as well. Wow. Wow.
And quote unquote spam content. So if you're in that niche, you need to be extremely careful with your content. Make sure it's true. Make sure that AI is not just making up random quotes from people before you upload it. Niche number 6 is celebrity drama and gossip. If you use AI generated thumbnails with celebrity likenesses, fabricated quotes, or misleading titles to drive views, then your channel is at a huge risk because they consider this deceptive metadata. If your thumbnails show celebrities in situations that they weren't actually in, or your titles make claims that aren't true just to get clicks, your channel could be at risk. Now, as a YouTuber and a full-time content creator myself, I honestly believe that almost no niche should be taken down on YouTube. I do think it makes sense to put disclaimers, especially if something is just blatantly untrue, or especially if it could be very harmful or something. I do think there should be disclaimers on those types of videos for sure. But to just take these videos down in mass and have an AI doing it, especially if people don't know the information, like imagine you didn't come across this video right here today, you might have not have ever got this information. You could mistakenly, innocently.
Okay, Matt, I do disagree with that. I do disagree with that. I think that the content that could be misleading or as proven to be misleading should be removed. Because if it's not removed, someone that might have missed the disclaimer may think that it was real. So I do agree with removing the content that's misleading, because that's misinformation and that could cause someone that let's say you and I, Matt, we were watching a video and we started watching the video from the beginning, and someone walked in about 5 minutes into us watching the video or so. They didn't see the disclaimer, and because we're in the midst of watching the video, we're not going to stop to explain that, hey, this is not necessarily real. We may say it, hey, this is not real, and then the person might say, really? But they keep watching it. But the fact that we say this is not real may just go over their head like an airplane, and they'll keep watching the content, and then they'll believe the content unintentionally. And somehow, as time goes on, maybe they're having a conversation. They say, "Remember that video that we watched? That's what happened in the video." And they said, "No, the video wasn't real." "No, I don't believe you. The video wasn't real." And then you have to now have a conversation to prove that the video was not real. So I do believe that they should remove content that is vehemently misleading, even if disclaimers were put in place. Let's continue.
Have done something wrong that you didn't even know, and then your channel is banned, you don't even get an explanation for it. So thank God you came across this video today so I can show you exactly what to avoid. Now the next niche is the police body cam niche. If you do this the wrong way, and if you cut specific clips to make it seem like something is happening that didn't actually happen, that especially could have an effect on some ongoing legal trial or something like that, then that could put the channel at a huge risk. So you need to make sure that you're not editing things in a way to portray things not as they were. Also, you should avoid compilation videos where you just take other people's videos and put them together as a compilation, especially if you don't have express permission from them, unless you're doing an original voiceover on top of the video. So I've talked about all these different niches to avoid. Now let me show you the secret for actually staying safe on YouTube, even in some of the niches that I just went over, and that is that you need to add genuine human value. This includes commentary, Now, you can use AI voiceovers as well. It doesn't have to be your own voice. I personally would use a voice that not many people have used. You can feel free to use my own even. It's on 11 Labs if you'd like to use it. Or you can even clone your own. Also, original research definitely helps a lot as well. Unique perspectives, actual creative input, having an avatar even be the face of your channel, so to speak, like channels like Yellow Dude, who's doing an incredible job in the health niche on YouTube, who's absolutely crushing it. Also channels like Zinni Studio, who's clearly an AI avatar, is doing incredibly good as well. Builds trust, and you build an actual character and an actual connection with the people who are watching your channel. These are what separates channels that survive from ones that get terminated, in my opinion. So you can use AI tools. I personally own several AI companies, including TubeMagic and Vid.ai. And Vid.ai will actually generate full 20-minute YouTube videos from a script. But you don't just want to AI generate a script and then put it in there and then say, hey, it's good. No, you can use AI to help you with generating your videos, but you need to make sure that your video actually provides people value. And by definition, the way to make the most valuable video, at least in my opinion, is to take the information from all of the top videos on the subject that you're making a video on and then put it all into your own video. Then your video, by definition, would be the best in terms of value. And that's what my second AI software, TubeMagic, helps people with. They can go in and paste in context video links to multiple other videos that they're recreating, and it'll take all the information from multiple different videos, putting it all into their own video, and then it'll structure it and write it in a way to keep people's attention on YouTube. Plus, you can choose a word count and everything else. So I've tried to build my AI tools in a way to actually give people more value instead of just generating crap that you could just generate with something like ChatGPT, which is just going to pull in random information out from the internet that's not going to be formatted directly for YouTube, and it's not going to be very good. So the thing is that these YouTube policies have existed for a long time on YouTube, but YouTube's AI detection systems are better than ever now, and they can now scan content at scale and identify patterns that could indicate if content is mass-produced or AI-generated, or super repetitive and low value, or something that poses a significant legal risk to the company. So make sure you check that box when you're uploading videos if your content involves any type of like AI character or anything else where an AI is saying something that they didn't actually say. And don't worry, you will not be punished if you do that check mark. Your video performance will actually not even be affected at all according to YouTube. Now, before you panic and you say that YouTube is over, I actually dealt with similar stuff back in 2015 where I've had issues with my channels back then in terms of using music that was accidentally copyrighted, or in terms of using a clip and have an issue with that. And I had my parents, I had teachers, I had friends telling me that YouTube is not going to be a long-term thing. It's not going to be here 10 years from now. But here I am sitting here 10 years later making more money than I've ever made on YouTube. Last month, we did over $500,000 from YouTube in my companies. I'm not saying that to brag whatsoever, but I'm just saying that to show you that I think YouTube's only going to get bigger over the next decade, but it's the people who use it the right way who are going to be the ones that win. And you could look at this as some of these channels that are getting deleted and are getting banned and everything else, that lowers the competition for you in some regard. Now, whether you agree or disagree with what's going on, we do have to play by YouTube's rules if we are going to stay on the platform in good standing and grow a big business. Because at the end of the day, YouTube makes money if you keep people on the platform, and YouTube also makes money if people see ads. And the only way they're going to surface ads is if your videos are legal, they actually provide significant value so people actually want to watch them, and your videos are advertiser friendly. In my opinion, the way to make sure that your videos hit those specifications are to make sure you're in one of the best niches on YouTube and you do YouTube in a specific way. Now, I recently did a video on my channel, which is basically a completely free course that you can watch. And
end it here, right? I think this was very informative. Thank you to Matt. And the original video, link to his original video is in the description. So if you want to check it out again, you can go back and review the video. But I think he gave some real good insights. And for people like myself that have received, that have concerns, and the channel have received 2 strikes, that fear of potentially losing a channel after working so hard to gain subscribers. And by no means does this channel have a large amount of subscribers. We are barely scratching the surface. We hardly get views sometimes on YouTube. And I could say this much, that even channels that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers are not getting the views that you would anticipate that they would get. And, there's a saying that it's not the algorithm, it's people rhythm, which is quite true. Because if your audience, your subscribers, your followers are used to you creating a certain type of platform, a certain type of content, and they come to expect that content daily, day in, day out, 1, 2, 3 times a day, many times a week, then your content is going to get views in the thousands, if not the hundreds of thousands, and in some case millions. All right. And there are even channels that have 5, 10,000 subscribers that are seeing views in the hundreds of thousands. So it's not necessarily about the subscribers. It's a vanity to have a bragging right to have a large amount of subscribers. However, having a large amount of subscribers don't really amount to much if you're not getting the views, if the channel is not getting the views. Because there are channels that with 7,000 subscribers and the content creator is pulling like 25K a month, right? Because that content creator knows how to use the channels to his or her advantage. And I'm not speaking, this is not hyperbole, right? These are facts that I'm saying, because after doing this for a while now and doing some reading and video watching, heavy researching, content creators with small numbers of subscribers are making a good and decent living, to where they're making anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 a month and living a decent lifestyle. All right. So if you're going to create a channel, listen to what Matt said. Make sure that you're very, very careful. Make sure that it's thought through and you know what you're going to talk about. Like, for instance, as a person like myself, I do not like to be labeled at a certain way or a certain type. I pride myself in being able to talk about different topics and being willing and open to entertain different subjects, right? I'm not in an echo chamber. I don't keep my mind locked in just on one thing. Case in point, I'm not a religious person. I follow no religion. Why? Because I would like the opportunity and the freedom to be able to talk to someone who may be of the Islam faith, of the Christian faith, of the Judaism religion, of the shamanists, the Yoruba, whatever religion that's practiced out there, Buddhas. I want to be able to be open and accepting and willing to have a discussion with anybody without having any negative emotion that could cause them to feel uncomfortable that they're speaking to somebody that may be judgmental of them. Of course, I'm going to have my opinions, and sometimes that opinions can be taken as being judgmental because I'm going to ask questions, and sometimes those questions that are asked are not necessarily welcome. But I do have the right to ask those questions because I'm curious. So if you're going to create a channel, it doesn't matter where you're going to broadcast the channel. There are so many different platforms. Like, for instance, I just explained, we are on multiple platforms. We're on X, we're on YouTube, we're on Rumble, we're on Kick, we're on Twitch, we're on Party, we're on what other platform? We even have a OnlyFans account to make sure that we're doing what we have to do to protect the Think and Say name. Because in the past, especially like on Twitter, now X, we weren't able to get the Think and Say. We weren't able to get it on Facebook. We weren't able to get it on Instagram. So we had to go with Think and Say What? Right? Which is the logo, the question mark, That's asking who, what, why, where, when, and how. So if you're going to create a channel, be thoughtful, be mindful, know what you're going to talk about. And if you have a channel where you don't want to be restricted to any one topic, be thoughtful and know the consequences of what you're discussing and how it could affect you. Right? Like I say, the link to Matt's video is in the description. And on that note, I appreciate you for watching. Thank you. And I see you on the next one. All right. So I'm going to end the stream right here. And like I always say, in closing, one love, respects, always question everything. Because if you don't, you may fall for anything. Think and say. Have a good day.